Right, hello everybody, this is Junk in a Trunk, hashtag 7. Gosh, we're getting on quite well, aren't we? So I thought today I need some embellishments. I looked at my embellishment pot and I've got very little in there. So I thought I'd do a few clusters with bits and pieces from packaging and things like that. You know, odd bits of paper. I've just sort of done one here because I made this incy wincy journal out of this bit. Well, I haven't made it, but I've got that bit of cardboard left out of the trunk. And I think it was cut off from one I'd done, and then I cut it down. What did I make that? So, just over 4 1/4. So that's 1, 2, that's 3/8. And I've got 3 inches there. And I've got 1 1/4 spine. All right, and that was left over, so I thought I'm going to make a little journal out of that. And I've got some rose printed papers that sort of went a bit wrong when my printer was, well, that's not cut straight, so that might have to be cut a bit straighter though. I don't know, might be all right actually. No, it's fine. And so I thought I would cut them down and use them in that and do just a little journal. So when I'd done that, I thought, oh, I need something to go on the front. So I've done a little sort of cluster thing there. I'll have something in the background. Not that though. Not something finer than that. Let's have a look. See if I've got anything in my bag. Oh, that, a bit more of that really. Oh, I might have enough. So that would go on there, like that, and that would go sort of there really, and that would be, in time that's, you know, stitched down and everything. Well, that bit stitched, that would be, you know, nice and flat. So I quite fancy that. So that's just, again, it's very done out of cardboard, and that was a die cut I done out of corrugated card that I gessoed and put in a bit of newspaper print. This, I have a tutorial on a few of my embellishments, which I will link that below, because I'd done the hearts then in those. I actually decorated some. Oh yeah, there they are. I got 2 left, that's all. So I'd done them ages ago, and I usually use them on the front of Happy Mail or something like that. So that's sort of similar thing to what I done. All right, so I sort of took on that concept, but it's a bit smaller. But that was all done out of packaging, cardboard. All right, so I thought I'd start off. I've got a few, you know, here that are sort of in the pipeline that I've sort of sorted, really. And I've got a pile of, there we go, bits out of the trunk. This is not out of the trunk. This was, which was great. Where did I put it? Which was a bag that I got off of Karen O'Reilly with some nice Easter chocolates in. And I've taken the bunny off, and that she had on the front, and I thought I'd use some of that, which is that sort of, and that's a ribbon that come from it. And that's, I've punched out some of the daisies. I thought, well, we'll do something with that. And that was a piece of card that she'd wrote on. That was the bottom bit. I kept the writing with what she said on it. And then just cut some shapes out of the card. I put that in. I better leave that there so I forget. Put that in that one. I can't remember what, was it 4 when I've done this one? I can't remember. So, and there it is. Love it. Love it. So that's in the front of that journal. That I have done no more to, and I'd love to finish this one actually, because it's just, you know, we're getting towards summer now. I don't need to, actually I will use that because I've got some tags that I've made out of similar stuff to that the other day, didn't I? So I can make a couple more there. There might be some pockets actually. Might make some pockets out of that. So yes, I love it. So I just thought I need some embellishments, and I'm using, oh, you know, out of my sort of odd bits. I'll leave that there. This sort of thing. It's all a mess, but I use it. I just get inspired by this, if you know what I mean, and I'll root through and I'll find things and I'll think, oh, that'll go with that. Oh, that's something I crocheted, look. I don't know why I haven't used it, but like these little bits, there's a little bit of crocheted stuff there, which I'm going to take that out because that will come in handy for what we're doing. A little bit of jute there, and I'm going to take some of that out. So I'm going to probably use some of that, and definitely some of this. Let's see. Oh, and I quite like that paper there. I don't take too much out because I can usually work with what I've got, you know. I've just taken a bit out, taken a handful out, and I thought I'd work with that. All right, because sometimes if we have too much around us, then don't need that though, that colour. Put that back in the box. I'm going to sew some of it actually. We've done quite a few journals recently, you know, from the packaging, so I think it's nice to just get in there and do some little tiny bits, that embellishments that we need to do. Let's come down there a bit like that. Right, and that is going to go either straight or slightly like that, I think, but I'm going to go and stitch around that first. Okay, which really what I could do with is doing a few of those. Okay, where look, see, that was all out of the trunk, and bits I gessoed that you might have seen me do previously when I got a bit gesso left over. There's one, you know, that lends itself to another one there. That's, oh, and I keep all these bits too, they're here, so I use those. Do another one. Oh, I've got some bits already sewn. I quite like. See, that's off of the page tab. Yep, and they come in handy if you cut them down the middle. I have to go that way now. Oh, let's have a look at this one. I sort of half put that together, but I'm thinking that's off of one of those cake, you know, you put cakes in. I think I've got a whole one somewhere. Done a load of those years ago, and I just cut it down, cut off a bit, ripped a bit. So we could do something with it. This might be a bit big. Yeah. So that didn't go there then because that was quite big. If that was smaller, that would have gone. So I'm just wondering if you can see. So that needs to go something like that. I'm going to pull that up because it looks like it's falling off the edge. That's it. And that's how that's going to go on that one. Yeah, like that. So let's glue that down. Okay, I'm not going to put the top on until those are stitched down. And now this is how quick, you know, you can do load together. Some more here. So just rip them down. I'm just wondering. I've got that. It's been cut out for ages out of something. I'm just wondering. That is going to go there. Right. Okay. Well, that's out of some circle, then cut in half. That's some packaging. Where is that? I did have it here somewhere. Not packaging, but some, it is packaging actually, because that's shiny there. Okay, off of something. And this is your just your pop of colour. Now my husband's putting a swing, a swing together in the garden for the garden. Oh dear. Oh well. It's cold at the minute, so I won't be sitting up in it, that's for sure. Okay, and that's one ready for stitching. There's one there. That's 3 already, look. I mean, how long is that? And I know we've got to finish them after, but that's like 3 almost instantly. Just out of a few bits. Right, I'll go and do that then. Okay, stitch round all those. Okay, that one's to go that way, I think. There we go. Alright, so let's start adding a few more bits to these. So this one is, I'm going to do the heart and that there. I haven't done these for ages. It's so nice to do some. Oh, sorry, I'm moaning because my husband's putting together a swing. I just had a bit of a moan. Can you be quiet? No, is his answer to that. Oh well, I did try. Hope he doesn't swear. He's done it wrong. Right, and when I do fiddly things like this, a hot glue is good, but Fabri-Tac is fine. So, but I always glue the back of my hand. A little bit of glue on there, and then I'll dip things, you know, like that, and then I'll drag it through, making sure I've got some on the wire. And I'll hold it in place for a sec. Hope you can see all right. And while I do the others, I'm going to... Alright, let's have a look at that one. I'm liking that. Okay, got a bit of dainty lace. That's literally the only bit I have. These sort of things come in handy for when you do things like this. See, I quite like that. It's still not dainty enough. I don't know. I'm going to put gems there instead. I'm going to put some row gems. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's got to be, I've got to lift that up a bit. It's a little bit sort of dull looking. So I'm going to put a few of those in. So this is the one that's quite blunt, so my old, very old one. I think I'm going downhill a bit there. I'll check in a minute. Yep. Followed the stitching that was going downhill. Okay, I'm not saying that will go on here because this is more for something else, but for something behind it, it could still fit on something like that. But it's great to have in your box. All right, so let's take that off now. And I'm going to put a little gem on that one. I'm going to go gem crazy. There. Now, do we want a word there? Let's have a look. I just feel those words are just a bit too big. I have some smaller ones. These are very dinky. Yep, I think that's far better because it's just small. I actually forgot to show you how to prepare the packaging. I have done in previous videos, but just in case that this is your first time viewing this one, I'll just show you what I do. This is just a piece of cardboard, okay, and I start sort of peeling it off really. Some of it, if it comes all off in one piece, I'll keep it, but those bits I won't, because this one did. And then all I've done with that one is paint it with gesso. Okay, but I like it when there's bits left like this, because I think they take the gesso really nice and they brighten it all up. So right, let's get my knife in. Again, this is a blunt one, very old one. I'm going to start lifting up some of that. Actually, I'll do a smaller piece. I don't need all that. I don't do this with a sharp knife because you might cut yourself. You don't want any accidents, thank you. Oh, it feels a bit fiddly when you do this, but I don't mind because I feel that I'm, you know, doing something and never know what's gonna turn out or anything like that. That's the fun of it, you know. And sometimes they just peel off in one, you know, but this one's not going to. And don't do it too symmetrical either. Okay, now this will make a couple, so I'm gonna, oops, that. Take some of that off. It might be a bit wide, so. And this is a double thickness, this one. So if you find it a little bit too thick, then I suggest you take it apart again from the back. Let's get rid of some of that, because that's a double thickness. Let's have a look. I quite like the way that's looking. I think that's squashed down all right, actually. Just so that I can put it through the sewing machine. I don't want it too thick. Okay. That's how it can happen. There we go, like that. And then also like that one. Okay, keep that bit. Just trim that down a bit. And there. Get rid of that. So I'll keep those two bits. And some gesso. And I just do that. Sorry, my husband's talking about me. There we go. Oh dear. Okay. Just put a bit on there. Like that. And that's what I do. I mean, you could do big sheets like I done the other one, but I just wanted a few cut up already. So I've got that one as well. So that's plenty for us today to use. All right. Right, so I think I got to this one. So I'll finish this one off and then we'll do some more. Yes, I've got them all sort of planned out a little bit just to save time. Again, it's similar to what I usually do. So, and you saw me, you know, I said I was going to stitch around this one. So, and let's start off. Just get rid of that glue on the top. This, I've no idea where it come from, but it looks interesting. That's that. And just a little bit of, I mean, look what I'm using. There's hardly anything at all. These are, oh, I'm cutting them down. What's the measurements of those? Because I'm going to call them toppers. About sort of 3 by 2. That's the size. I've got some a little bit bigger. Just depends how the piece of card looks after I've, you know, sort of ripped it apart, really. Again, all done out of bits and packaging. Bit of cardboard. And all your little scrag ends. It's very windy here today. I'm just going to put a bit of glue under there. And doors are banging. And then we're going to put a flower there, so that'll keep that bit there. Let's have a look. I'm using Fabric because I'm using fabric, so that I keep that corner down. I think the seagulls are sheltering today. Let's squish that down a bit. Don't think we need the button because that'll be, yeah, that looks 3. That's fine. Leave that alone. Right. Okay, that's that one there. There's another one done. And I think we'll do, should we do this little one? Quite like that actually. That is just die cut out of some corrugated card, which is lovely. So I'm going to ink that up. I think I need a bit more on there. And that was the vintage photo. And I think I showed you where this come from, which I need to ink it all up actually. So, but I have got other ones of these that I'll show you in a minute where I get them from, for a bit more inspiration when you think, oh, I haven't got a focal point or things like that. So I will show you that. What's that? Some of the Tim Holtz tickets. They've been tea stained, or I've cut them out of tea stained card. They're not tickets, they're like tabs, aren't they? Little tab things. And I'll do it that way. Like so. And that was from Karen O'Reilly's bag. Thank you very much, Karen. Loved it. Come in handy. Colour scheme. Just going to take a bit off there. Okay, and I'm going to put a little bit more on underneath that flower. So but only a bit. There we go. And then a word along there. Just going to pick that up and make sure this is sort of straight. Yep, I'm going to move that a little bit because I just want it slightly off centre and just like that. There we go. And that's a little dink. What size that is? That's quite small. It's about 2.5 by 1.5. Okay. That's a nice little topper, which again could be put on another piece of card for a bigger topper. All right, but that's that one done. I'll just leave that to dry. Okay. And then we'll go on with this one. Okay. Right, I've done some of these. Right, we should go on with this one here. Right, let's get on with the other ones then. Okay, right, I've got some of these that was in the trunk. Okay, now if you haven't got any of these, use your punch and just cut some out. All right, just cut 2 out of card and stick the card together to make them thicker, because these are about 1 mil. Okay, which I thought I might as well use them because they were in my trunk. But anyway, you can, I think this one's too small actually. Yeah, it has to be the other one, and then we'll trim it down. So let's have a look what size that one is. Oh dear, 1.25 inches that one. So let's cut a bit out of that. It will be a bit bigger than that one, I think, but I'll show you what to do. But if you haven't got a punch and you've got things like this, you just place the paper over the top. So yeah, it's a little bit bigger, but that's okay, because this is what I do to get round it. And you can make these out of, you know, pretty... A minute, I'll show you that one. Actually, just stick that down and then I'll explain, and that can dry while I explain a few other things about them. Okay. That can dry, yeah, it's overhanging, but that's no problem. I'll show you how to get rid of that in a minute. These are some more that I've done. The trunk. Right, and I've got written down what I used on some of them. That's a big one. I think that's it. These come in the scrap store. I just picked a handful up. Right, that one's had nothing done, but it's out of book pages. So if you get sort of books like this one, okay, got very tiny images, and you can just punch out shapes. That one's quite nice. Like that. Yeah, I'm going to stick that one on there. Like that, and you leave it to dry. Okay, now once they're dry, you sand them down. But right, okay, now I'm going to show you these because I think these are all different. Right, okay, yep. This one I done with embossing powder. I think I used a thick enamel in one, which is, I used one or two coats, okay, for those. So they're really sturdy, nice and shiny if you want that sort of thing. Okay, and that one there I done, but I picked it up too soon and cracked it. But I still quite like that. I have no problem with using that. Okay, again, that was enamelling paste. No, actually, that wasn't. That was glossy accents. Okay, so the glossy accents cracked a bit. Was that glossy accent? That was enamelling, embossing powder, or the thick enamelling paste they call it. And that was that one. That's really nice, and I quite like it because it really does look like a dome. I don't know whether you can see it or not. A minute, I'm gonna mash up place those there. And this last one was just PVA, right? But then you could use most probably the gloss Mod Podge, and that would make it shinier. I just didn't have any, Let's have a look, see if we can see. You see what I mean there? So that's the difference. So that was PVA, just normal PVA, but about 3 coats. That was Glossy Accents, which, if you can see, it cracked a bit. That was your embossing powder, and so was that one. Okay, so the embossing powder was the best. That would have been brilliant if I didn't pick it up and crack it. All right, and the PVA is quite dull, but I quite like it, so I haven't got a problem with that. That's just cutting out loads of circles and doing what I'm doing here, which was those there. So when it's like this, and like that one, you get your emery board or a little bit of sandpaper. Yeah, and take that off that's hanging over. The back side as well, just give that a little sand because it's quite shiny, so just do a bit more there. There we go, that's that one. And I'm going to put Glossy Accents on this one. I won't do the embossing powder one. And I will go around the outside and then fill in. Actually, I usually got these on a little mat. Let's do that. There we go. And then that will look like a dome when it's finished. As long as you don't touch it and go, oh look, and crack it like I did. Okay, so I'll leave that one to dry. I'll put it over there in a minute. And this is the other one which I use. But this one I'm going to use as is, because it's just going to be a background, not a focal point. Like that. And then ink up the edges. Now we have it. I haven't done that one there. This is slightly smaller, but that's okay. Just showing you I'm using that one. There we go. And I'll move that out of the way, so I'll definitely stick my finger in that if it's around me. It takes a couple of hours to dry. I usually leave them, the best to be left overnight really. can use that one for a later date, so I'll put that one away. And put those away. So you've seen those little things that I do. Okay, we'll get on with that one. I need to stitch around that as well, but I'll do that in a minute. Just nothing three-dimensional on. We can do the stitching while these bits of paper are on. Then one of these, that is another punch. What have I got? 1.5. Okay, so that must be 1.25. Yeah, 1.5. So those two actually go together. They mat and layer nicely together. Okay, and I think you'll find I used it on that one there. Okay. They actually sit inside each other very nicely. Right, so that is going to be flat, isn't it? There. I just inked up the edges, inked up all sort of around there, but lightly, not too much, because I quite like this one because it's nice and light. Place that in the middle. There, like so. And I'll go and stitch around it.